Hi, everyone. My name is Jessica Zanko, and I'm going to do my draft presentation for my behaviorist biography on Mark Sundberg. So I started off with about Dr. Mark Sundberg. He is a licensed psychologist working in the field for 40 plus years. He holds a doctoral degree in applied behavior analysis. Sundberg previously held positions on the Northern California Association for Behavior Analysts, publication board of ABAI, and the board of directors of the B.F. Skinner Foundation, which are just some of his accomplishments that he's had in his career. I plan on elaborating a little more on that, obviously. Next, we have Dr. Mark Sundberg in the early years. I got two of these photos from his website. The first photo here is of Jack Michael's first 7 PhD students. So that's such an accomplishment. This photo was taken in 1977. Mark is pictured on the left right here. In the second picture, we have Mark Sundberg and Steve Brom demonstrating sign language in 1977. This picture was important to me because sign language is still not as used as often, I guess, as I would have expected it to be used in 2021 versus 1977. So it's nice to see them demonstrating the use of sign language and for it to, see how it has come. All right, moving on. We'll have more pictures, but this is Mark Sundberg continuing to make a lasting impact. It's Carbone, Jack Michael, and Mark Sundberg on the right. They were guests faculty at the Penn State ABA course in 2013. Continuing on, I will be adding more research by Dr. Mark Sundberg in this slide and continuing with his accomplishments and impact on what he has done for the ABA behaviorist community, for kids with learning disabilities, for kids with autism, and continuing on, we'll be discussing my interview with Dr. Mark Sundberg, which is not actually happening, but it will be discussed here. First question, how and why did you get involved in the field of ABA research? This is just my beginning question because I think it's nice to see why people get involved in this kind of thing. Was it a teacher that made a lasting impact on him as a young adult, or family, friends, sister, brother? I think that would be an interesting question, and I wasn't able to find that exact answer anywhere online, so it'd be cool to know. What do you find most interesting in the field of ABA? Since that's his forte, I think having that broad question would allow him to narrow down what area of study is most interesting, specifically in that area of study that he can elaborate. Were there any specific influences, experience, or role models from your childhood that pushed you and your brother to become PhD and BADs? I found it super interesting that his brothers also has similar courses of study, and they both hold PhDs and are really involved in the ABA research community. I think it's quite cool. Me and my sister, didn't really have the same ideas going to college, so I'm wondering if that was something that stemmed from their childhood. Next question, what is your vision for the future of applied behavior analysis? I think that this question is pretty broad, but I would love to see, he was there from the beginning mostly. So using I mean, we're all still talking about Skinner, but having his vision for what he thinks it will be like in 10 years would be pretty interesting since he's been in the field for 40 plus years. And then the last question, how would you go about discussing with a parent the best ways to teach verbal language to a child who is struggling? I think this would be nice to hear him talk about how he would discuss it with a parent. It would be a lot less analytical, and you get to see kind of how he would interact with people in the community that he does so much research for. Next, we'll be discussing Dr. Mark Sundberg's important contributions. He's contributed to more than 50 journals, 4 book chapters, and has extensive research in the field of behavior analysis. He focuses many of his works on verbal behaviors, working with individuals with autism, learning disabilities, and language deficits. Sundberg focuses his research on providing many different findings following the B.F. Skinner theories of behaviorism, verbal language, and operations. So that's what I have so far for my draft presentation of Dr. Mark Sundberg. I hope you have some feedback for me.